Does the seeker need a master? The image of the guru is far from shining. This word has become synonymous with charlatanism and sexual scandals. It must be said that abuses have not been lacking over the past few decades. In fact, they have always existed. I believe that power corrupts, plain and simple. When a master holds power, temptations are never far away. It is a law of human nature, and few humans transcend it, especially those who claim to. But does that mean that we must abandon the ideal of the master? I've had many gurus in my life. Some tried to manipulate me, but most were upright people. One of them was Mark Tchaikovsky, who recently passed away. What is difficult is reconciling the head and the heart. When we let ourselves be charmed, we become blind. And yet, the heart is vital. Without emotion, we do not move. Nothing changes. How can we balance emotion and clarity? Not easy. It is a bit like romantic relationships. Living with both the left and right brain engaged is an art that we do not master. It must be learned. Hence, the importance of spirituality that affirms the complementarity of knowledge and love. I believe it is possible. If, from the outset, you are conditioned to believe that the intellect is bad and that one must surrender blindly, disaster is not far off. Above all, we must recognize that there are multiple models of the master. Beside the supreme avatar and the cult of personality, of which we must be wary, there are other possible models: the friend, the guide, the advisor, the coach, the elder, the brother, the teacher, the instructor, the example, the discussion partner, the master craftsman, the expert. But you may ask, what then becomes of the noble ideal of unconditional surrender, of losing oneself completely in the master? I remember once one master told me, in our lineage, each disciple disappears into his master. In my view, this ideal is good and beautiful, provided that it is not directed toward the person of the master, but toward the master living within ourselves. As soon as we focus on a physical person, projection occurs, and the door opens to all manner of abuse. For instance, if one gives oneself entirely to Krishna, that is fine. However, if one places blind trust in a person claiming, explicitly or subtly, for the things often nuanced, to be Krishna, or some avatar of love, then one must remain clear-headed, even at the cost of temporary frustration, especially since true love lives deep within us. Projecting the divine that we carry within onto a person is powerful and therefore tempting, but it is playing with fire. I have met so many people who claimed they could play without getting burned. Yet, nearly all of them were wounded and disappointed. Psychological projections inherited from childhood and our ancestors are forces beyond our control. There is no shortage of examples. Generation after generation, seekers learn this the hard way. When a person has charisma, influence, for one reason or another, it is very, very difficult not to become dependent. And the promises of freedom at the end of the tunnel of obedience are often mere traps for the naive. It is like love. One must know how to open the heart while maintaining sense. There is the love at first sight, but also the deep affinities that matter. In truth, what we seek is within us. It surpasses us, but it is within us, hidden in our sensations, our emotions, our thoughts. There, at the center, at the heart, at the source. Finding the master is responding to the call, remembering smara in Sanskrit, and thus awakening to divine longing, smara as well. The seeker needs a master, but who's the seeker? Who's the master? The master is the seeker's truth. To find him is to find oneself, to awaken to what within us is greater than us. Then, in this timeless remembrance, smara, there is finally the revelation of union, yoga, always already accomplished, but concealed, hidden by false beliefs and wrong direction of search. People are external and therefore they need temporary masters. Abhinavagupta, the most famous master of Tantra, advises questioning them like a bee gathering nectar from flower to flower. But the honey is within. Discernment, viveka, is vital to love. Without it, we are lost. Surrender, yes, but to whom? To the inner master, to the goddess of the heart, to the unfathomable mystery that patiently awaits our listening. Abhinavagupta, in his Tantra Aloka, emphasizes that the Guru is both outer and inner. There is an outside Guru, an external Guru, who can provide teachings and transmission. But the true realization occurs through the awakening of the inner Guru, Antar Guru, which is ultimately Shiva consciousness, herself, Pratibha, divine intuition, that inner intelligence that guides us all along. So is it wrong not to have a master? Abhinavagupta, based on all the tantras, all the traditions available at his time, answers, it is wrong only if you have a qualified master around and you don't want to meet her. But if there is no one qualified available, then you can turn directly to the goddess, Chandika. The Devi Panchashatika, an essential tantra of the Kālī Krama, or the Kālī tradition, echoes this sentiment, depicting the goddess as the supreme teacher who grants direct realization beyond reliance on intermediaries. In another tantra of this tradition, the Kramasadbhava, it is said that the goddess is Satyabhava, the embodiment of both truth and pure being. So, given the fact that according to Tantra, non-dual Tantra, non-dual classical Tantra, should I say, reality we are seeking is consciousness. But consciousness is already there, already available. And consciousness is freedom, everything is possible. So, consciousness can play out the game of surrender to an external guru, but it can as well recognize directly herself within us. The true guru awakens recognition, not submission. The guru's role is to disappear, leaving only the light of awareness. That is why, in the Kālī tradition, often the gurus speak of themselves in an impersonal way. Someone has done this. Someone has written this. Someone has transmitted. Someone has awakened. Discernment, viveka, is the fire that defines and refines devotion. Thus, surrender should be to the Shakti within, the one who never deceives, never departs, never falters.